Hello, 8th grade science students. Today, now that we've finally tackled kind of writing ionic compounds and how to create those, knowing what the charges of the ions are, we're going to talk about naming them. So our goal here is to be able to write the name of an ionic compound from its formula. We've learned how to write the formula, so now we just have to figure out how to write the name. So the naming rules, which are fairly simple for ionic compounds. Unlike covalent compounds, you don't have to worry about knowing all these prefixes, mono, tetra, all these things. We don't have to know those. No tri, no di, nothing like that. So this time the naming rules are this. The cation, the one that comes first, in the formula will also be the one that comes first in the name. So the cation name comes first and is not changed. You just rewrite the name of the element. Step 2 is the anion name comes second, and IDE is added to the end. Now, that basically replaces something at the end of that name. So you've probably heard table salt is called sodium chloride. Let's look at that. That's our very first example. So example number 1, we have Na, which stands for sodium, and Cl, which stands for chlorine. So we write sodium as the cation name of the first element, and we write chloride at the end. Instead of chlorine, we replace the INE with IDE, so sodium chloride. This is something that you've seen enough that you'll probably feel very comfortable with it. I would actually encourage you to pause the video now and try example 2 and 3 on your own, or at least, grab your periodic table, see if you can figure them out without me, and then check your answer by watching the remainder of the video. So if you want to, pause now. Okay, if you paused, welcome back. If you didn't, you're just going to see some answers. Okay, so Li on our periodic table, we can find it right here. That's lithium. So we'll write the name lithium. O stands for oxygen, so it's tempting to write something like oxygenide and keep going, but the standard is we actually eliminate most of the word and replace it with ide. You've probably heard of oxides before, so we just write lithium oxide. Okay, our third example, hopefully you tried this one as well. We got to find aluminums in the third column, and since it's first, we just write aluminum. And a little bit tricky, iodine's actually in the very, very last column. So instead of iodine, just like chlorine, we're going to replace the INE with IDE, and you get aluminum iodide. Okay, hopefully those weren't too tough for you. And the reason why we don't have fancy prefixes on these is because the ions themselves have charges that force the compounds to be in these ratios. So the next video, when we take a look at going backwards, going from name to formula, you'll see why we don't actually need the prefixes on there. Let's take a look at the worksheet that I'd like you guys to try based on this. So the worksheet has the cation and the anions labeled for you. The ionic compound goes in the next column, so you get to write the compound, and then you're going to put the name. So you're practicing stuff we've done before, and then you're working on naming things. So our first example, so lithium, we look it up on the periodic table. It's in the first column, so it's just a +1, so Li1+. Fluorine's in the second to last column, so it's 1-, so we get Li1+, fluorine 1-, so the compound, they already cancel out as LiF. Then you write the name, which is lithium, and then fluoride. We replaced, again, the INE with the IDE. So please give that worksheet a try, and we're going to practice going from names back to the compound formula next. Have a fantastic day.